Now, museums and monuments form a great deal of a country's material culture and part of tourism. For instance, besides preserving and promoting culture, museums directly contribute $21 billion to the U.S. economy each year. They generate billions more through indirect spending by their visitors. 78% of all U.S. leisure travelers participate in cultural or heritage activities. Now, how can Nigeria achieve same feat? Joining me to talk on this is the Director General, National Council for Museums and Monuments, Professor Abba Tijani. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now that the attention is shifting to the non-oil sector, is the council positioned to attract this volume of visitors and investments we're talking about?
Well, definitely, Nigeria, as we know, is very rich in culture, and cultural resources is an endowment for us because every state you go, every community you go, you find that there is something unique that identify the community. And we are lucky to have these cultural representation artifacts. However, we have so many of artifacts that are across the world, and we are looking at now trying to consolidate on what we have. But the challenges we have is more of an infrastructure because you have to make the environment, accommodating, welcoming. That is how visitors want to come to a place and feel welcome and relaxed. And at the moment, that is the challenge we have. But with the return of some of our artifacts, we are looking at having kind of a world standard, a world-class museum. For example, in Benin, we are going to construct a new museum in partnership with our colleagues outside the country. And also, we are looking at the possibility of having a national museum in Abuja, which we don't have now for all these years.
So when we're doing all these things, as children back then, I remember in primary school back in Zaire, we go to the military school to see the museum there, but all these things don't really happen now. We've also, back in Kaduna, we go to, at least we go to see some of these things. So one will begin to wonder why there's no much attendance in our museums. You've mentioned already that the infrastructure is simply not there. So perhaps you could hit the nail and tell us how we can get people attend the museums, perhaps through schools, excursions, and some other things.
Actually, we do have museum visits. We have a lot of school children visiting museums. We have programs actually in the museums that we invite schools to participate because most of our programs are actually in tandem with their curriculum. So any history subject, we use the artifacts to train, to teach the children. And we also reach out to the communities. We go to the schools and we even go to prisons and some other places. So we are not just sitting and waiting in the museum for our visitors, but we do outreach programs. However, there is lack of awareness. That is the major problem. And we are doing that, and we are actually working with the states and with the communities and the traditional institutions. That's why when I took over last year, I have gone to so many communities, I visited some traditional rulers, and we are going to partner so that we'll make museum now a place where people can go and identify about their past, associate with their artifacts, and understand the history and culture of others. So we are now creating awareness, and I think there is lack of awareness. That is what I understand, and we need to do some pamphlets and advertisements and the rest, so that people will be aware that we have museums in their communities, because we have museums in every state of the country, and in some states we have more than one. And in addition to that, we also have national monuments, which are also places where people can go and see some symbolic structures about the culture and heritage of the people. So it's this, the key is awareness actually.
Okay, so while we work on this awareness, do you have any sort of private sector role or a sort of alignment? I'm asking these questions because most people who go visit these places will end up wanting to at least have something to take back home. So do you have any private driven arrangement?
Yes, when I came, when I took over in September last year, one of the areas I looked at is this partnership with the private sector and individuals who are interested in museums. So I've been able to reach out. That is how we were able to renovate the Museum of the late Sir Abba in Bauchi. And also we have individuals that have contributed to the exhibition of our collections in Calabar and in some other places. So we are partnering with the NGOs, with interested individuals, and that is how we make the place attractive and how we will be able to renovate some of our museums, because government alone cannot do it. So we are doing that, and also we want to also partner with the banks. I've said it from the beginning, and I still have it as part of my agenda to partner with banks so that we'll be able to create some exhibition areas in the banking halls so that people don't have to just go to the museums. They can see the artifacts there when they are doing their banking, activities, so that they will be able to understand, and that will even attract them to go to the museums. So these are the kind of things we are looking at, and we'll soon partner with the banks as well in this respect.
How about the airports?
Of course, airport. We still have some of our artifacts in some of the, airports, and we are looking forward to expanding this. And soon I will link with my colleague with Fan, and then see how we can have our artifacts displayed. We do have some of our artifacts in some of the airports, of course.
Yes. So during the pandemic last year, a lot of jobs were lost in the tourism sector. How did it affect the museums and monuments, which is your own divide?
Of course, we had lots of challenge during the pandemic. Most of our museums were, shut down, and we were not able to record visitors simply because of the COVID-19 protocol and social distancing and so on. That has affected the industry, of course. But that is how we now came about this virtual display of some of our objects. We are doing it still. If you go to our website in collaboration with the Active Projectile, we do portray our collections online, and we have created a login. People can subscribe and then see the artifacts online. So we didn't just shut down the museums and didn't enable people to see or interact with our museums or our artifacts. So we actually created enabling environment for them online to access some of our artifacts.
How has the reception been?
Well, it's a lot of people are actually participating, and we are also partnering with some of the embassies in digitization of our artifacts, across the museums. That is ongoing, and that will enable us to have a virtual, exhibition of our artifacts and of our heritage sites across the country.
Okay, thank you. I must sincerely say thank you, Professor Abba Tijani, for coming on Business Express this morning. And we're also hoping that you will take us on tour to one of the museums to see for ourselves the new things there.
You are welcome. Definitely, I will do that whenever you are ready.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.